is episode 448. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Argostiniak.
What's up?
Matt Zellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This is Season 10, Episode 13. All throughout Season 10, we're talking about one game per week, playing it, ranking it on a big list you can follow along with called The List over at thefreecheese.com/thelist. We've had some good games so far. Very interested to see where this week's game ranks. This week's game is Rez Infinite, which we'll talk about just shortly here. And we're really going to dive into Rez and its history and creator and all of that fun stuff. First, I want to know, what is one Final Fantasy game you have not played but wish you did? Matt?
6, I think, is the one. That's the answer.
Ooh.
It was 9 or 6. 6.
Mark?
There's so many that I've barely played that it feels like I just haven't played them, but at the same time, just not many I care to play, so I guess I'll say 10.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't even dabbled in it.
It's weird, like, I haven't tried 10 at all, outside of being at, I've talked about this dude before, but when I was a kid and had a friend who was very into Final Fantasy, and I did not like them at all because they were single-player games that I had to watch him play. He got into 10, and I remember just being like, ugh, another, like, I already suffered through 7, and having to just, like, I could only touch the controller when we were in the field, and otherwise, like, he wouldn't let me touch it because I would screw up his game. So that, yeah, by the time we got to 10, I was like, I'm just going home. Maybe we should stop hanging out now. Yeah, 10's one, and 6 is another one that I played through, but I never actually beat it. I'm, like, right at the end of my save, but I, like, was just weak enough that I couldn't.
I find that so funny with 10, because that's the one I beat that one multiple times.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, my experience is similar to Joe's. Like, a lot of that was just witnessing a friend play it, and so in a way, I felt like I kind of played it, and so felt like I wasn't missing much. But probably until I met you, Matt, is when I started hearing more and more about it from other people as well. So it's like, man, maybe I am really missing something here.
Because it's the best leveling system in the world. Duh.
Right.
They're just, I don't know. I just saw somebody share a post where, like, they'd played through all of the Persona games in the last year, starting with 1 all the way, and they did the spin-offs too, like the fighter and the dancing games and all that. And I've seen similar posts with Final Fantasy where I'm like, people just sat down and they were like, I'm just gonna play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like, and they did it, and I'm like, how? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'd get bored, but then again, I don't know. I want to.
I mean, each kind of, I guess I can't speak for, like, 1 through 5, or I guess 1 through 6, but I mean, like, from, like, 7 to 8 to change, and I know, like, 9 kind of goes back to 7 a little bit, but I don't know how much, of a difference between 7 and 9 there are, in terms of gameplay. And 10 totally changes up the formula. 11, can you even play 11 anymore?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still getting new content, dude.
12's a little bit different. 13 is, it kind of, I don't know how many of the same story tropes you're gonna get, but they all play differently to an extent.
No, I think that I just feel like, you would. It's still an RPG. It's still, I don't know. I feel like there's parts of it that
I don't know. I mean, I guess
feel...
this is a weak example, but someone who just did it a couple months ago with Metal Gear, like,
yeah,
those, like, the difference, especially 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are probably the ones that feel the most similar, but 3 was, like, different in an odd way than 2, despite, like, controls and aesthetic and kind of those things being exactly the same, that, it was different enough where it didn't feel like I was playing the same game I mean, obviously same assets, but it didn't feel like I was playing like a 2.5 in any regard.
Yeah. Well, that said, I'm playing through 3 right now when I can on the Mister. There's a YouTube channel called, I don't remember the name of the channel, sorry, but you can look up like the animation of Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3. He's got separate videos for each of them, but 3 just published recently, and like it was a reminder that I started 3 on the Mister because there's a really good translated version of the, because that one only came out on Famicom back in the day. We didn't get it here. And then we've got like the DS remake that was then ported to PSP, but it's totally different. I just wanted to go back to like that, you know. But this is the first one with the job system, and it's wild. Like, it's really weird. Like, you just change jobs on the fly. It's super, I don't know, strange and different. But 3's been the one I want to finish. But I don't know. I do kind of want to go through all of them. I did try 2. I don't think I'll ever go back to 2. It was too rigid. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's Final Fantasy. We're not talking Final Fantasy this week. We're talking Rez Infinite, which first released October 13th, 2016. However, it is, you know, the latest version of the video game Rez, which technically debuted on the Dreamcast back when the Dreamcast existed. But it was one of those games that was late enough in the Dreamcast life cycle to not make it out of Japan. And when it was time to leave Japan, they just ported it to PS2. And that's the version we first got here. This was, again, originally developed by United Game Artists, a group within Sega at the time, headed by Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who now runs Enhanced Games, who you may know from Tetris Effect and such. And Enhanced is the one behind this Rez Infinite port. I think the big thing with Rez Infinite is the addition of a new area called Area X and the ability to play it in virtual reality. And it's now been ported to a bunch, Infinite at least. Like it's debuted on PlayStation 4, but it's now on, I think, any major VR platform. I think even on the standalone Oculus stuff, you can get it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Rez. I don't know that there's a. I'm double checking to see if there's a box, back of the box thing. Oh, there is one. Okay, here you go. Ready? Never mind. This is French. Rez is an endorphin machine, releasing the essence of trance through futuristic sound, visuals, and vibrations. Journey through cyberspace as visualized by the system in your quest to awaken Eden. Can you beat the system? Ladies and gentlemen, open your senses. Go to synesthesia. That's I greatly apologize. It did get released on Dreamcast outside of Japan in the UK, and that was the back of the Dreamcast box. Yeah, the PS2 box, a little bit different, but still go to synesthesia, enter a pulsating world of intense sights and sounds where every beat and sample is synced directly to your actions. There's a little bit more than that, but yeah, Rez Infinite. This was one of the games on our list this season that I added because I wanted to play it. It's one that I'd not played all the way through until now. But it was one where, let's see, I forget when I bought this Infinite specifically, but I remember like when I first started toying around with PlayStation 2 emulation stuff, like I checked out Rez and I was like, ooh, yeah, this is way different than I expected, but it somehow felt familiar in a way. And then now with Rez Infinite, playing through a little bit of it on Steam, and then I ended up playing all the way through it on PS4 via PS5. And that was kind of my primary thing, but I really just wanted to play Rez Infinite. I feel like I'd played enough of Mizuguchi's games outside of Rez, but never had experienced Rez fully, so I just kind of wanted to. I guess before we go into the specifics of it, what was your first impression of Rez, Mark? Like, what when did you first learn of Rez? Have you always known of Rez? What?
Rez was one of those games where it was barely on the radar. Like, I knew it existed, but I was never quite sure what it was. I know, like, I always saw some weird, like it said, some like cyberspace looking thing, and some like person that looked like he was made out of sheets of paper or something. But other than that, I had no idea what any of it was.
Matt, with Rez, did you know about it before the Rez Infinite release? Did you recognize it in a Blockbuster?
No, first I probably heard of Rez in general was around the VR build up for Rez Infinite, but I really didn't know what it was, and I just kept hearing VR and like Rez Infinite as like a good thing to play if you had your hands on VR, and that's kind of all I knew about it. So really, I didn't get exposure to like what it played like until I booted it up. When I went to play it for this episode.
Yeah, I think the thing, I kind of mentioned it there, but like the visual design and the visual language of Rez is so rooted in that kind of turn of the century Y2K-ish computer
mainframe.
I don't even know. Yeah, like it's got that bit to it, and like it feels so familiar that like you feel like you've always known of Rez even when you didn't know of Rez. Like I don't know. At this point now, I cleared Infinite and played through Area X, and then I've gone back through and done some of the I'm terrible at score attack. Like there's a score attack thing where it's you have to try and beat the minimums or whatever, and like I don't know. Tell me if you guys learned how to play this game, because I don't think I did as much time as I've put into it. I feel like I'm not getting high enough score. Okay, do you get a better score if you're like getting more in one sweep, or is it just about like knock out what's on the screen?
I
guess that's question one.
The key is comboing and killing at the same time.
Okay,
so you want to get kills on so I know some enemies like take 8 hits exactly, and you get the kill. You get more if you ding them once, do 7 times on them, and then hit another dude for 1 and get 2 kills in that 8 hit combo.
So like literally like press let go 7 times.
No. Like aim your reticule like on the one dude, like the dude that takes 1 hit, and then go down to
and get them all in, get all 8.
Yeah.
Let go and then get the next guy.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And then part 2. I felt like there were times where if I didn't get I forget the name of the thing, but that little like satellite that comes by that you have to hit to like advance to the next like layer. I felt like sometimes if I let that kind of just pass me by, I could get more enemies and then theoretically drive my score up. But I also felt like I was,
You want a layer. You want to go to the next layer because you get points for the next layer.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'd like tried different approaches in some of the levels, but I was like, man, I know.
You also, if you can manipulate the bosses a little bit too, if you don't go right for the kill, but maybe kind of do a little bit of survival and take out some of the other enemies with 8 hit combos. That's like a good bet. Like I think the first boss at their final stage has that giant like green ring that goes around in a circle. If you just take out the ring and not even worry about the middle, like it just takes the boss takes care of itself.
Okay, yeah.
And then you get points that way. I did successfully complete every score attack minimum.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I got very into this game very quickly. I don't know if we want to get into it too much yet, but
no, I think because that's the interesting thing with this is like the first time I played it, I was bad at it, and clearly I haven't gotten any better. But it felt like I knew I wanted to like it, but I couldn't slip into it. And there was a point though where I sat down, slipped into it, and played all the way through areas 1 through 5, because that was my thing too. I was being really stubborn, where like I had cleared area 1 and then was having trouble on 2, and would walk away from the game. And when I came back, I'd start back at 1 again, and then I was like getting to the same things and not just getting forward. So I finally did get to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just going to start with 2 and then get to 3 and then get through. And then I went through and played from 1 through the end of 5 again. And it was all good. Like I got myself in that loop. Like once you learn the language of it. Did you have that, Mark? Like, did you feel like you slipped into it at all? Did you get the Rez experience?
I had some struggles. I'm playing this on PC, so I was able to try the VR stuff.
Ooh.
Not just that though. I think I tried every controller combination possible. And like if it felt like I think I wasn't sure how simple this was gonna be. Like I knew I had a character, but I didn't know I couldn't move the character. So I'm trying to like play it like it's Star Fox or something, and I just can't. But you can move the reticle, obviously. Like you aim at everything, and that is where I was trying to figure out. All right, what's the best way to approach this? Because I found myself just no matter what I'm doing, whether it's the headset aiming, whether it's the VR controller aiming, and they fight to take over who wants to aim all the time. Like if I move the head too much, then the headpiece takes over. If I move the controller too much, it takes over like a Wii remote or something, and it'll just like pick it up. No matter what, I was just wiggling the whole time at the entire screen. Like it felt like there was no skill. I could just cheese the whole thing. Just keep doing this until I make it. And I did that for 4 areas until a boss killed me off screen. Then I just said screw it.
Ooh.
I tried it with a controller. I tried it with a mouse. The mouse seemed the easiest way to go about this. But the mouse also
I can see that part,
controls the camera, so that was a little weird. I couldn't find any real comfortable way to prevent just wiggling. So like I don't know. It's like I wanted to like it, but there was always like 2/3 of it that was holding me back from like really getting into it.
Yeah, that stinks because I wonder. Well, I feel like VR is definitely super cool for Area X, but I did feel like with even the standard bit, that kind of flow you do find yourself falling into, I felt still worked really well, even on a 2D plane. Like it got to the point where one of them I just paused the game, got up, and turned all the lights out so I could really try and like lose myself in it. And it still worked, but I had that in some game in VR because I've not played much, but there was something I did play where I had that same kind of like, it might have been touch effect actually, where it was like, I like this, but the way that my head's moving the camera stinks for this 2D plane. But
yeah, I mean VR was cool for looking around wise. That was definitely a plus, and like I applaud this game for giving so many ways to play it. Like I think that's pretty neat because not a lot of games do that, and you're able to just do it on the fly, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah. I ended up just taking off the headset, and then like mouse was the easiest way for me to do it. It was just, I don't know, like I guess YouTube would probably have to tell me or give me like tips because like I don't know how to avoid whatever happened. Like the boss fight in Area 4, I don't know how to like get past that. And then it's like the one with like all the the whole bunch of tiles just like flowing through the whole dang thing, and then just out of nowhere, I guess it was a phase near the end. There was no way to me to anticipate its attacks, so it just kept hitting me till I became nothing.
I had that too. Did you have that with that boss, Matt?
The last part of it, actually, I kind of got immediately. It was the first bit of that with the endless barrage of things at you. At first, I needed to save my overloads for that segment, and then try to take out as many tiles in that first or second pass to try to survive to the last stage. No, that second stage, my focus was on like taking out all those red rockets first to kind of get it down to 1 or 2, and then focus on the locks. And as those rockets kind of kept coming down the spiral and getting closer and closer to my ship, that's when I would take out the last 2 and reset it. But yeah, No, the last part was not the issue for me in that boss fight.
Hmm.
It was the endless barrage of ships coming your way as you flew by the pyramid looking structure.
Oh, right. No, that tunnel bit, I remember I got really good at figuring out how to cut off to the side to get the power up so I could get another overdrive and just like take out the things as they came. That was like driving me nuts. But yeah, I literally in my like original notes as I was taking it and playing it, I wrote down like my heart is racing after Area 4. My hands hurt so much. Because that's another thing too is like the Dual Sense, the PS5 controller. It's a good controller for a lot of things, but extended periods of time playing that controller sucks. Like it's just slightly too big in like the sides and back. Do you get that, Matt, or is it just me?
No, I mean you're talking about the vibration level that this game output in the DualSense. There were definitely times where it felt like my hands were numb at the end of an area because it was just so like rigorous, but it felt good. It was like a good numb.
No, the vibration, that part ruled.
But as far, I mean, I guess to answer the extended play session, I don't usually have an issue.
I don't know, man. It's just like something about it. Just like maybe I'm holding it wrong. I don't know. I got to get used to it still.
There
it's
is
just like a weird
vibration setting. Like you can set how hard you want it to vibrate.
In
I think
was
in
that
Rez
with every
itself.
controller?
I think it's in Rez itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was like every controller did that or what. But
No, it's just within that game. You can set it. It's like 4 or 3 different levels.
Yeah, I would crank it. Like that's one thing that Enhanced does really, really well. Is just like that interactivity, the stuff that goes outside of the game itself. Which we'll talk about synesthesia in a little bit because I think that's a big part of this. But I'll say that I wrote down like Area 5 was a lot easier than 4 to me. It was longer, but it felt really, very long. But it feels really cool to see what they did with that game, kind of like combing everything back together. It was kind of like, I don't know. It felt like any good story or like writing where like they introduce themes all throughout it, and the final bit is just this culmination of everything they'd done prior to that and put it together. The thing I wrote down there that I actually never went back and looked at was like how they did that on Dreamcast, just to see how it differed with the Infinite version. Just because I felt like it visually would have been a little bit even more Y2K, cool, weird, you know what I mean? Like computery stuff. But yeah, and then I want to leave Area X a little bit separately, but is there anything else about the core game you guys want to mention, talk about, or something stood out to you?
When I sat down and played it, I had that Rocket League aha moment within 10 seconds where I instantly fell in love with the game. Literally, the first wave came by, and I hit X, and I quickly learned like you have to hold it, and like from there I just knew like, oh, we're gonna have a moment with this game here, and like I didn't put it down all afternoon. I didn't put it down until I had to. I played it. I think night 1 of WrestleMania. I think until I had to. Honestly, I would have had a platinum trophy and a beer moment in like 6 days of playing this game if Area 5 wasn't long. I could not for the life of me get the 95 shoot down percentage required for a trophy and to unlock another mode. But if I would have gotten that, I would have been on my way to getting a platinum trophy in this game. And I would have put in the hours and the time to do it because I just love playing it. I love going back to the areas. I loved going back for the score attack, for the shooting percentage, to up all those stats. You usually did pretty good with the layering. I was usually pretty 100% first time through. But man, just see, playing through an area, then getting that shooting percentage up above 95, like seeing like go up to like a 97 or even like a 98 is like, all right, yeah, that was a good round. Yeah, and then doing the other like the lost level, that was just like difficult right from the start, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, my only two small gripes. I wish there was more just stages in general. It's tough. Granted, this came out before Tetris Effect, but it's tough to look at Tetris Effect and see how long the journey mode is, and not wish that this had like just like. I'm not saying it needs to be as long journey mode, please. No, I don't need that. But like 3 more stages, like just give me a little bit more. I guess for my money's worth there. And then 2, like I don't know if we added more stages, Area 5 was to be Area 5 as it is, but that area needs to be in 2 parts in the level select. Like it needs to be the build up, and then from the mini bosses forward.
Yeah,
I agree. The 95% thing. That's the one that has the most enemies thrown at you, and it was so hard to get that 95%. I'm not good enough at the game yet to get the 95 in that area. But it's so disheartening to go through that whole thing and see, like, you had a 92 and you weren't even close. Like, it's like, oh, all right, yeah, there's only so many more times I'm going to try this before I give up on it. Knowing full well that I'm going to go back through this again at some point for the platinum. But, yeah, I immediately fell in love with this game. And I did not want to put it down, despite being it led me to the score attack stuff, and it led me to the extra levels, and it led me into Area X, which I actually played through one time because I was so focused on getting the regular Rez part done before moving back to the X trophies. But I don't think I like the moving around in Area X a little bit. And I don't know, that's where we want to segue to this. I don't know if Mark had anything else to say about the first Rez. Or that first, but the original.
Yeah, the core.
Yeah.
Oh, I just like the way your character could evolve or devolve.
Oh yeah, that was a good mechanic.
You basically go from like sphere to like floating Pepsi Man kind of thing.
yeah.
And then to baby.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a cool mechanic that like encouraged like. Because when you think about this game, it's really just Space Harrier with music and better visuals, right? Like you're moving around. Or you're not really moving. You're just kind of like going up, down, left, or right, really, and then aiming. But you really, like Mark said, you don't have a lot of mobility, like control. That is where Area X comes in, where like you can physically move the character, and fly and stuff. But like this one. It gameplay is pretty simple, but it does encourage things like that leveling up system. It's like, oh, okay, now I want to make sure I'm going for the power ups. Obviously, there's also the percentage tracker to tell you like, hey, you should collect these things, but and the overdrive pickups. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good game.
Yeah, with the evolution and getting the I think I said overload before, overdrive power ups like. You kind of start to learn the pattern of which enemies will drop them, but like learning them makes you want to clear everything on screen. And that makes, because not everything fires at you. Like some things are just easy to just go away, and if you kind of know what to ignore, you could ignore it. But knowing, that encourages you to kind of always stay on top, want to clear everything, even if you know it's not going to shoot at you. Yeah, so that was a little clever way to make sure you clear everything on screen, besides the shooting percentage stuff.
All right, Area X. Let's do it. My note here, the only thing I wrote down is Area X is what video games should be, because I just felt like when I stepped into that, I was just like, man, this is so cool. And when I wrote what video games should be, I just mean like you couldn't do Area X in any other experience. And I think that was kind of the part to me that was like, man, this is like what I want in video games. I want an experience I can't have anywhere else. I want something that completely pulls me in, and something that just is for the pure sake of fun and interactivity, right? Like, I think, so I played this game back, I don't know, when I like was really getting into it, it's like February or something. But like jumping into it then and really like getting lost in it I think I was also in the middle of something else game-wise, and it was just like, I don't know. Thinking about like where games are now versus, again, our continued adage of the old PlayStation 2 era of video games, but like looking at things now versus then, like there's nothing in Rez that is like superfluous or unnecessary, or things that are like designed to, I don't know, so much crap that goes into building battle passes and just all the crap about, I don't even know, like battle pass is the only example. I'm like too exhausted by it to even muster anything, but I don't know. Playing this was just like immediately refreshing. I don't know. That said, I agree with Matt. Like that movement, I didn't love it. Like I kind of missed being pulled along on the journey.
Yeah, I didn't come back. I played Area X before completing the core Rez. I think I got stuck on Area 4's boss. I died like 2 times in a row, and I was like, I don't feel like going through the whole stage again. Let's go to Area X, because it's the new one. And right away, I was like, oh, it's Tetris Effect, but in this game. Like, it looks
you can see, like,
so pretty.
These people made Tetris Effect.
It looks so pretty. No, it's like, I wish I was just on rails, because I didn't like moving. I like found myself not ever moving my character if I didn't need to. Like, if I had everything in front of me, like, I just, all right, I think
especially the final boss.
This is the good corner. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I found myself the good corner.
I just stayed still unless I had to, and it didn't.
Yeah, but very pretty. Very, very Tetris Effect.
Yes.
That area, especially.
Mark, anything on Area X? I don't want to jump to the next bit.
So, I didn't touch Area X, and now I feel like I should have. It just seemed like such an optional thing, given the name, that I just didn't touch it. I just did the main thing.
It is definitely, like, it's separate, and it does feel different, but I think that, I hope, and this kind of goes into, like, you know, the general, like, celebration of the franchise and stuff we will talk about, but, like, I kind of feel like Area X is where they're going to go next, and I kind of hope that that's what they've been working on at Enhance. Obviously, after this released in 2016 and 2018, we got Tetris Effect. Since Tetris Effect, though, there's been ports, right? Like, it left PlayStation and it went to PC, then to Xbox with Tetris Effect Connected, then to Switch. And now Enhance is helping with Humanity? Is that the name of the game? It was one that was announced.
Oh, yeah, around that PS5. Yeah.
But it's not Enhance proper. Like, it's not Mizuguchi's next game. They're publishing it, they're doing some work on it, but it's not the next thing. And I'm really hoping that the next thing is you know, I don't know, Area XX, whatever it would be, but like, yeah, like just exploring that. I do hope that the movement and the mobility is a little bit more, I don't know, something needs to be tweaked there. But I'm also like, I wonder how that would have felt in VR to use you know what I mean? Like, I think if you had proper controllers, that could be something.
Yeah, that definitely felt more like the VR. This is our tech demo. Let's see how this kind of works. And he polished it up a bit. I mean, it's a good area. I enjoyed Core Rez a lot more. But then again, I didn't have a VR headset, and I'm playing on PlayStation.
Yeah, because Mark, they're like controls for it. It was like what, L1 raises your character and R1 lowers?
Yeah, they use a lot of the shoulder buttons for the movement. It was like L2 was reverse and brake. R2. Yes. Excuse me, I might be confusing Gran Turismo controls here a little bit.
I would be key binding that immediately.
Yeah, well, I'm sure like if you have the the VR controllers, it's probably a little bit more intuitive to move it around, and there's probably things there that make more sense. But yeah, but it's a weird sensation.
But like the one joystick was to turn your character, and the other one was for your reticle, right? Like. Yeah. So like you had that advantage there that you didn't before. So
but I feel like that would
sense,
be
but
replaced with the head tracking.
Definitely more intuitive with a headset on, I think, and some tweaking of controllers or whatever.
So another, it's mentioned on the back of the box. It's talked about. Kind of the question of the week I had for this ties into, I mean, the original game in Japan on PS2 released with the trance vibrator that you would plug into the USB port on the front of the PS2, and it just the idea is you put it in your pocket or put it whatever, and it would pulse in time to the music. And now, obviously, with modern controllers, we've got Rumble, so there's that. But like when this game got released as Rez HD on Xbox 360 in like 2008 or 9, it did not include the trance vibrator, but you could just take 360 controllers in addition to the one you're playing with, lay them on your body, and it would do this.
So funny enough, as I'm switching controllers trying to find my favorite way to play, and I ended up, on mouse, I just had the Xbox controller in my hand or on my leg as I was playing, because I set the vibration up so high that it was on the desk and I could see it like starting to fall off. Mm-hmm. So I just held it just as I was playing.
On your leg.
Yeah. So he had the trans vibrator experience. Yeah.
No, but that's like, it's part of it. Like, they built a suit, dude. Have you seen the Synesthesia suit?
No.
It's like a whole thing you can strap into. Like, take some time, dig into just like what Enhance has been doing like on site. Like, in their actual office, they have like not only a suit, they have like a whole chair you can sit in that's like a full body experience for both this and Tetris. Like, they're doing some wild stuff that it's weird because I don't know that we'd ever see something that consumer level, but
like, if I were someone that was trying to do drugs, I feel like I did it wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting from this.
I think if you play the trance mode in this, you can kind of start to fall into that realm. Like, playing that, I was like, man.
Did anyone play that mode thinking there was an end to it, not reading the subtitle? Hey, welcome to the party.
I read the subtitle and still was like, well, they got to end it at some point. And then I like stopped and looked it up and I was like, crap.
The third time through the shapes, I was like, what's going on here? What am I not clearing? And I backed out and I saw the shit.
I hit a point where I was like, all right, 5 more transitions and I'm done. Like, 5 more changeovers of the thing. And I did it. And then like, I don't know, by the time you get through, like, you're kind of back in. It is kind of a trance mode. You're just, like, slipping in and out. But then I was like, okay. And it was really making the dogs go crazy. Like, the sounds of it were, like, because it's very discordant and weird and stuff. But, yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought for the longest time I was, like, waiting for a clear condition, like, 95% on, like, because I saw the trophy list at this point. So I knew like 95% was like a thing. So I was waiting to hit. I did a couple of the whole evolution of changing the colors, and after a while, I was like, what's the clear condition here? Because I need to know something here to go forward. And I just realized it was endless, and there was no trophy tied to it at all. I was like, all right, cool. I just wasted about 30 minutes.
Yep, same. But it was more.
Oh, it was interesting. It was fun. Eerie. Yeah, that's the better word.
Yeah. With the trans vibrator and with the kind of like interactive piece, maybe it was this, maybe it wasn't, but what was the first game you remember that produced synesthesia for you? And while you think about what I'm asking, I've got a definition for you of synesthesia. The production of a sense, impression, relating to one sense or part of the body by stimulation of another sense or part of the body. And I think like one thing that I think a lot of people, or maybe not, experience with something like this is, I don't know, when you like taste something and it makes you, I think like generally, right? Like if you taste something or you smell something and it makes other parts of your body react in weird ways, like something spicy or something, whatever. I think that's part of this, but Rez kind of does this differently with you're seeing stuff and the way it's moving and then vibrating in your hand, like these things kind of producing multiple, I don't know, reactions. Is there another game you feel like has kind of like pulled you in and made you feel like a part of the game?
It's cheating, but Tetris Effect is the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's definitely it. Yeah.
Maybe Star Fox 64?
Oh yeah, I can see that.
It was the first game to come with with the Rumble Pack. That was like its main thing.
Yeah,
And like the way that it would use it, like it made a difference. Like it added weight to your controller. So it's not only just the vibration or the rumbles that you're dealing with, but like it for a game that's all about flying and floating, it did feel like it had some nice weight to it. Strangely enough, even though it was probably just an illusion. But
yeah, you get that sense of it for sure.
Yeah, and just the way they used that rumble pack. It's not just when you take a hit. I mean, obviously it was for explosions and stuff too. But like, if there was a long cinematic explosion, that rumble held out for that entire time. And you're like, holy crap! And then your hand.
And I think like if you ever are curious if that actually works, go the opposite way. Where like there have been games that I've played. Well, one with the Xbox One controllers and now the newer one, they get to a point if you're using AA batteries where it gets low enough that it stops using the rumble to preserve, connectivity. And that I always notice immediately, like, wait, something's wrong. This game doesn't feel good anymore. Like, you can totally feel the opposite. Same thing where there's certain PS1 games where I distinctively remember playing with vibration, and then I've gone back now and played them like with the standard PS1 controller without vibration. Like you feel the difference where you're like, something's wrong here, something's not right. It feels empty or like floating in a way or something. I don't know.
To be fair, with that PS1 controller, when I got my PlayStation, the DualShock, well, I think it came with it at that point. So like whenever I just pick up that controller, something just does not feel right.
Yeah. Are there any games you wish had more of an interactive experience? Something that you've played where you're like, man, if this had more, I don't know.
I don't know why I'm thinking of it, because it's already like transformed. It already transformed like how to play it enough. But like something like Guitar Hero, right? Like it was a plastic guitar. If only it had some weight and like some like vibration, like as if like the amp was next to you a little bit. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I think that it was like right there, and they could have just taken it a whole nother level. I feel like if they just added a little bit more to it. I mean, granted, all those peripherals were expensive enough, I'm sure, but it was like right there.
Yeah, Rocksmith might be your closest.
Oh yeah, I
forgot
about that.
But that's only going to be like the weight of an actual guitar or something. It's still not going to fill that speaker thing, unless you like. I think it's supported in amp, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's a very out of the way thing to do, so it's not that convenient. I was still thinking of like games that actually like would still give me some sort of sense of synesthesia. That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought of when I played through Resident Evil 7 the first time.
Yeah.
The only weird thing is that I don't get it as much on like other playthroughs now. And I kind of wish Village kept that going. If that game could just have VR, just something.
Yeah.
Without mods, like official thing. That would have been nice to keep that feeling going.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. With obviously, it's hard to not think about VR when we're talking about all this stuff, but like PlayStation VR 2 is probably imminent, right? And I think Matt and I talked about this, but like where I was like curious about PlayStation VR before, I'm like actively ready for VR 2. Yeah. Like I think it's because of the maturity of it, right? Like before it was like, okay, use this camera that you already have that whatever, and remember those Move controllers that you bought for $8 at Walmart? And use those too, but not the navigation one, and it was just like, I don't know. And the experience itself was fun, but not perfect. And not that I'm saying the new one will be, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how like that, and now obviously like Oculus was like one of the top Christmas things forever, like that the Quest or whatever. They're just in Target where like I don't know, man, people wearing khakis are out there buying Oculus. You know what I mean? Like weird dads are into Oculus. Weird dads are into VR more than I am. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't, something's off there. Like there's a weird, I don't know. Something's happening where like I think it's bigger than it has ever been, and it's becoming more widespread and more, I guess, accepted in that regard. And so I'm curious to see how that stuff develops. And then to get back to your point, like, do we start seeing more games that are like natively supporting it up front, or having the option to, at least? I don't know. Yeah, separately from that, are there any games that you can only play kind of in like one particular way? Like the way that this, I don't know, kind of forces you to play a specific, I don't know. What am I trying? Matt's got a grin.
No, I immediately just thought like Dota 2, I have to play that game with a calm and entry level state of mind. If I go in with any type of not calm attitude, that whole experience gets ruined. That was just the first thought.
Are you saying like what games do you, to where like you kind of like you have your own rituals set up for it, like your own like way of getting into playing it, where like that's the only way you play this, like?
Yeah, maybe that. I guess I don't remember why I wrote this question the way I did, but I think my way of thinking was more like thinking about like the idea of synesthesia and the way that like a game can impact you and whatever. Like you kind of end up approaching this game, I don't know, almost to force it in a way. Like not force it, but you know what I mean? Like you go into it, I think, after having experienced that kind of like interactivity and that extra layer of a video game with Rez and Rez Infinite, I guess, I've gone back to Rez now every time, just like knowing like, okay, I'm gonna have an experience. I'm not just gonna sit down and play Rez for 15 minutes. Like I'm gonna do a thing. I guess like, are there other games that you feel like you kind of always know like, okay, I'm slipping into something. It's not just gonna be whatever.
Okay, yeah, had I played Steel Battalion at this point, that probably would be my answer.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for games that come with like some type of gimmicky control where it's like this is the intended way to play it, and it involves something outside of a standard controller. So like your Guitar Heroes or Rock Bands or something. You have those instruments. I even tried Nintendo Labo and wasn't my favorite, but I appreciate what it's trying to do, Yeah. But that's why I like VR. Like there's a lot of games where it's like it can only be the best experience that way, but
especially that Labo VR, right?
Right, especially the one you have to hold. That doesn't come with a head strap.
The fact that that's within arm's reach of Joe's desk is kind of concerning. How often have you used that bad boy?
I literally forgot that I had it until you said that, even though it is right there on the bookshelf. Because I did it, I tried it out enough to understand what it is, and then it has just been like, I didn't want to disassemble it because that seemed rude.
I just don't think we're the target audience for that.
No,
I mean, yeah, it was a neat idea, and I think Labo itself is like, it's cool, but yeah,
and
being in your 30s and trying to cut down on physical crap.
Yeah.
Believe me, I struggle every day. Like, should I just get rid of all these amiibo? Should I get rid of everything on the shelf? Should I put all these games in boxes and hide them under the stairs? Should I have nothing in this basement at all except for a TV and some consoles? Should I get a whole thing that hides the I don't know, man. It's too much.
Do I need a couch? No.
Let's just floor.
But yeah, and then like
also, the thing's covered in dust. My eyes are sorry.
No, you're fine. And most famously, like light gun games.
Man, just quick side note on that. There's been some people in the Mr. Discord who have been working to get their Wii remote to operate with the Mister so they can play light gun games on PS1 without needing to do like a whole like snack converter and get the original things to it, all that. But like they're doing it and it's rad, and I really want to get a Bluetooth dongle so I can start having fun with light gun games on a modern TV.
Yeah, I love unconventional controllers.
Yeah, and I think especially because a lot of modern games have ended up adopting a similar control scheme. Like it's rare. Like it's nice because when you pick up a game now, you can almost just know what to do. Like your hand falls in the right place and you know exactly what each button is going to do. From game to game, they change like little pieces of it, but generally speaking, like you just know how to play a game when you pick it up. Where before when there was no standard, like it made it tough to know like what's the menu button, what's this button. But yeah, they're kind of weird unconvention stuff that it's always fun because it makes it feel like this was really thought out for this game and designed that way.
And yeah, like most simplistic DDR, right? Like if you played out with a controller, it's like it's just not the same as having even like the bad dance pad that's just flimsy and rolled up, whatever. Or you have the high quality, like look you ripped it from an arcade machine and installed it into your floor. Like it's just not the same.
Let's talk a little bit about other Mizuguchi games. So, what was your first Mizuguchi game?
It's
the catalog.
It's Tetris. I haven't played. So this is the interesting thing that Rez did for me is I think it exposed me to more, or it got me another exposure to another Enhance or Sega United Game Artist game, and now like Tetris Effect. I mean, we've talked about Tetris Effect last year on the podcast. Game of the year. But like I'm not going to say Rez is as good as that, but like I had a very similar like experience with Rez as I did with Tetris Effect, and now it's just opened my eyes. Like I probably should pick up Lumines Remastered on Switch and have some fun with that, or I do find some weird emulation way to play maybe Space Channel 5, that a game I've never touched, or I haven't seen much. I know what it is, but like I haven't seen it in action that much. So yeah, I think with anything, I now want to see the rest of the catalog now. Yeah,
that's exactly. I had a very similar thing. I think like after Tetris Effect, for sure. I had played Lumines Electronic Symphony, which was the Vita launch title, because Lumines was a PSP. I don't know about launch, but early title. I think it might have been a launch PSP title. But yeah, like similar thing. It was like, man, there's something here. There's it's definitely. I think Rez and Tetris Effect go to a different place than Lumines does, but there's still something to Lumines that's really, really, I don't know, alluring, and like you can fall into it. The interesting thing with Space Channel 5 is that they were co-developed, Space Channel 5 and Rez, and there's a Dreamcast documentary that Archipel did that if you're listening, go just, I think it's called, I don't know, I have it pulled in here. What is it? Dreamcast. The Dreamcast Remembered by 8 Game Creators. But there's a part 1 and part 2 available on YouTube. And yeah, he talks about how Space Channel 5 was the like bright game that they made like during the day, and then they would go like clubbing late at night in Shibuya, and then like the dark parts of the night that's when like Rez development would happen. It's like those things. So they're like cut from the same mind, but with two different design sensibilities and approaches and things like that. And you can, Matt, actually get it on Steam.
Oh,
there's like a whole like Dreamcast collection or whatever, and you can just play it right there. But it's also been ported and stuff like that. And there's actually a newer Space Channel 5 in VR. Within the last like 2 years, I think.
Oh yeah,
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, what about you? What was your first Ms. game?
so I wasn't fully aware of this person until recently, but I know I've played his stuff in the past without obviously realizing it. And I'm thinking back to like the arcade days. So I'm sure there's a Sega Rally that I played.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one. I know I played the Star Wars Trilogy arcade. And I was like, okay. I didn't know. I mean, he had some hand in that. Maybe not as much as Sega Rally, but yeah, I had to look up a list just to make sure.
I didn't go back far enough with the specific name then. I just looked at Enhance and Sega United. Oh, yeah, I definitely played that Star Wars trilogy a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he was just, I mean, it says that he was just like a project organizer with it, but yeah,
so was Hideo Kojima on Metal Gear, so.
Yeah, and then like I remember sampling like 99 Nights. Just like one of those like 360 launch titles, I believe. And
I think, yeah.
Yeah, which is basically like their answer to like a Dynasty Warriors, essentially. Just a little more narrative involved. That's like straightforward. But I think the best answer is Every Extend Extra Extreme. Or E4.
So, man, I tried that game recently. Because obviously playing through Rez, I was like, all right, I need to re-experience everything again. And I could not, it felt like playing, oh gosh, I'm never going to remember the name of it. The Llamasoft, who's that guy?
Llamasoft.
Someone's screaming at their podcast right now.
I just remembered that box art. And it always... it always caught my attention. I was like, all right, I gotta buy this game. I gotta try it, whatever. I don't remember much of the gameplay. I just remember just a bunch of colors and shapes and...
Oh, I remember this cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, that...
Like, if there's
Tempest
one thing...
is the game I'm thinking of.
Tempest?
Jeff Minter is dude's name.
Hmm.
It all came back to me now. But that's what's it called? Or I'm thinking of, yeah, Tempest 2000, but like Every Extend Ultra had that kind of vibe to it, and I'm not good at those games for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't remember much of it, but like now knowing everything that I know, it's like, dang, this is Mizuguchi as heck. Like it's just that visual style. Or like that vibe, like it carries. Like that DNA is kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
It's amazing how good a game can look when you use like every color available in the palette and not just like gray or orange or blue. Like, you know, when you vary the art style.
It stands out for sure. Yeah, I've also not a ton, but I've played some Meteos, which was, you know, he produced that and Sakurai designed it, which is kind of a weird mind share.
Yeah, it was like that was like a reverse puzzle game, or like reverse Tetris in a way, right? Where like you had to make stuff go up and set it down.
Yeah, and it again, that one's one like I haven't played a ton of. I just remember like that was an early DS one, and like when I got a DS, it was very much like you should check this out.
Yeah, my friend had it.
Yeah, the one I never actually played that I've thought about going back to, but it seems like I'd have to dig out. I wouldn't have to. It seems like it probably works best with Kinect or PlayStation Move, and then that's like, all right, well then I need to go get a disc version of this game and get the Move controllers out, and that seems like a whole thing. But Child of Eden, I never played, but it was a spiritual successor to Rez.
Another
and again,
box art,
the whole
I
idea.
remember.
I remember that box art.
Yeah, he'd partnered with Ubisoft for publishing a lot of those games. Like they really got behind a lot.
I always thought
Child of Eden, not to be confused with the biblical musical Children of Eden. That's the first line of the Wikipedia page.
But it's funny, yeah, because Eden Rez, like,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's and like I don't know. I feel like there's still more in the Rez world to be explored somewhere that we just haven't seen yet. But hopefully soon. I guess why don't we do a quick lightning round? I've got a couple of Rez or Mizuguchi related lightning round questions I'll hit you guys with, and then we'll move into the ranking here. Okay. L block or straight pipe?
straight pipe.
The pipe.
PSP or DS?
DS.
PSP.
Shibuya or Harajuku?
Shibuya.
Oh man, I guess I'm gonna go with that. Shibuya.
Hatsune Miku or Gorillas?
Gorillas, because at least I've heard I don't think I've heard of anything of Hatsune Miku.
I'm gonna say Miku.
Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
Rock Band. 2 specifically.
Well, yeah, all right. So that was going to be my franchise. I go Rock Band, but game Guitar Hero 3.
You should, I don't know, check some DLC for Rock Band. Guitar Hero is basically there.
Space Channel 5 or Rez?
Rez.
Ooh.
Even just from the little bit of Space Channel 5 I've seen.
I want to go with Space Channel 5.
The arcade or some kid's house with rich parents?
Arcade. Get out of here, kid.
Music or silence?
Music.
Music.
Okay, good. Just a check. Just making sure. Code Red or Pitch Black?
Red.
Pitch Black. Pitch Black.
Daytime or nighttime?
Nighttime.
In what context?
Who knows?
Daytime, probably.
Handwritten or typed?
Typed.
Yeah, typed.
6-button or 3-button?
6 button.
6.
Only one of these games will be only one of these consoles will be the only console to receive new games. Saturn or PC Engine?
Saturn.
Saturn.
Tetris 99 or Tetris Effect?
Tetris Effect.
Effect.
Tetris Game Boy or Tetris NES?
Ooh.
Game Boy.
Oh man, but the colors. Game Boy. Fuck.
Push up to drop or let them fall?
Up. I don't got time for this shit.
Up to drop.
Have you ever dreamed of Tetris?
Probably. I can't remember a specific time, but probably. I know I get into both of Tetris.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure maybe Effect more than actual Tetris, but...
Well, Effect's a fever dream, so does that count?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a dolphin somewhere.
Yeah. VR or AR?
VR.
Yeah, AR's just not quite there yet, so yeah, VR.
Feels gimmicky. That's just the shit that's come out for it. I don't think there's anything wrong
No,
with it.
we need to be to the point where like my contact lenses can see computer screens.
Yeah.
And then I'm good.
Yeah, I don't need to build a Minecraft world in AR yet.
Yeah, we need some Black Mirror episodes.
Yeah. Tetris or Puyo Puyo?
Tetris. It's not even a question. Ben.
Puyo Puyo or Mean Bean?
It's a trick question. But Mean Bean.
Yeah.
I thought they were one and the same or similar.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Mean
I was
Bean
very
was just
confused.
They are just one's just better themed.
Mean Bean.
Area 5 or Area X?
5.
I haven't been to either, but I'm gonna say X.
Area X or YouTube roller coasters?
Ooh.
YouTube roller. Area
Well, yeah.
X.
YouTube roller coasters in my VR headset.
All right.
Lemonade or limeade?
Lemon.
Yeah, pink lemonade came to mind first, so yeah, lemonade.
Mario hockey or Mario baseball?
There was a Mario hockey.
There should be.
Yeah, hockey. I'm gonna go.
Well,
with
hockey. If it's anything like
Olympics.
strikers.
Brisket, moist or lean?
Moist.
I didn't know these were options. Matt seemed confident. I'm gonna go with moist.
Yeah, it's just another cop check there. And our last one, Lumines or Lumines?
Lumines.
Lumines, right.
Yeah, I heard. I've heard that recently again on another person said Lumines.
Did
So
you just listen to another episode of the Free Cheese podcast?
No, it was probably a little while ago, but it was Modern Vintage Gamer on YouTube talking about stuff.
It depends on the social circle I'm in. I'll switch between the two.
That makes sense. All right, we've reached the ranking here. It's time to rank Rez Infinite among the rest. I will say, granted, I played this earlier than a lot of the things we'd talked about and ranked on the list. This was the first game I straight up knew I was giving a 5 once I got to a certain point in it.
Oof.
Granted, I mean we've since given 5s to some other games. Wii Sports was up there, but
I didn't give it a 5. I gave it 4.5. I know we don't do this by things, but I thought about it, but I wish it was longer. It's a bit too short. And Area 5, I really wish was split into 2 parts for replayability, which this game emphasizes.
Well, but ranking-wise...
Yeah, I don't know. Where's Mark coming? Because Mark's a little bit lower than us. I want to see where Mark's coming in at.
So top of the show, I was trying to think where I would place this. So the entire time, I started pretty low on the list. Not gonna lie, but I was hoping I would want to place it higher, and I kind of do. I think I'm around the Zelda SSX tricky area, the 6th, 7th place. I don't know, because for me, I like the visuals more than anything. I like the music. I just couldn't get with. And then especially having to start over from the very beginning, if you die, it was just painstaking for me. And the controls, I felt like I could just cheese. But it's like a dope ass visualizer for Windows Media Player or something, if that were ever to be one.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot I still haven't really touched that you guys did, so that brought some light to it, and I kind of wish I experienced that.
I think the thing musically is that stepping away from the game, the only song I remember is the one from Area X. And that varies depending on which boss you fight. But I'm talking about the very final moment, that song is the only one I actually remember. Everything else I remember some of the sounds and feeling in a way.
I just remember the same beat throughout every level. I couldn't tell much difference for me.
But I really just have that like when you're actually like connecting with the enemies. But like
Yeah.
other than that, I don't have a strong.
It's like I wanted it to be Tetris, and I think that spoiled me. And I think that hindered my experience with this.
I mean, it's tough because like we're playing what is a modern video game, but it is
Yeah.
technically a 21-year-old video game.
So
Right, or almost
originally,
that.
it was just above Sunset Overdrive for me, but I
Oh,
think
wow.
that was me being emotional. So, and
So
after some thought, but yeah, I think I would put it under Gitaru Man. Is where I'm at.
this is tough.
Yeah, because my personal floor was above Gitaru, but I was like ready to go. No, that was my floor, but I was ready to soar to see with the momentum.
Dude, I mean, my gut was above Wii Sports. Like this was my new number one. But remembering our conversation on Wii Sports and thinking about Wii Sports as a whole, I'm like, okay, no, Wii Sports is still number one. But for me, Rez is 2. Like Rez over Portal 2 for me, 100%. That said, I know this is not my list. This is our list. So, yeah. And thinking about our list, like, I feel like it's hard to put this over No Mercy.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Like, my score's gonna end up being lower than No Mercy, but I gave No Mercy the 5 off of it as a wrestling game, much like I gave ESPN Football the 4 off of sports simulation game. So, like, I actually have my gut would put it above No Mercy, below Portal 2. But I don't know. Dude, where's our negotiating ground at?
I mean, I
So-
can compromise with that.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
I can compromise with that.
I'm good with that.
What, new 3?
New 3, yeah. Between
Yeah.
Portal 2 and No Mercy. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Rez Infinite. It's definitely one of the ones on the list where, like, the week's over. I mean, this is weird because I've been playing it for a lot longer than just this week. But, like, the week's over and I'm still itching to play more of it. Where not other games for sure, like Wii Sports I still want to play more of, and obviously with like Switch Sports on the way, I'm like even more excited about that. No Mercy I left last week being like I want to play more of that, and then watching Stone Cold Stunners on YouTube, I'm kind of like let's yeah. But Rez is just something I think that something special about Rez.
I agree. I like I said, I would have a platinum trophy. It didn't require me probably playing Area 5 like 5 times in a row, which I'm just not up for that.
No, it's tough. It's too tough. But now that I know how to like approach score attack stuff, I'm gonna go back to more of that and see how I do. Because
also like those bosses. Get sidetracked here, but those bosses you usually milk 30 to 50k off of right there if you play them right. So if you're at that 100,000 mark, Also, Area 5 is a very easy score attack once you get there. If you milk the mini bosses, you're fine.
Cool. Yeah, because that one I know it's double the minimum. It's
but milk the mini bosses and don't necessarily like don't rush killing that final boss.
Sure. Well, that's Rez Infinite. If you have not played Rez or Rez Infinite, I strongly encourage you to do so. Go check it out, and then hopefully we get more Rez-related games in the future. Either way, I'm excited to see whatever Enhanced does next, which we should, I imagine, should hear soon, right? It's been a while.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
one of them their summer game fest opportunities, you know.
Something's got to give. Next week we are talking PsyOps, the Mindgate Conspiracy. The old PlayStation 2. Was that out on more? I don't know. We'll find out next week. PsyOps is our game for next week. Come play with us. Talk to us about that. Until then, you can, of course, follow along with the list over at thefreecheese.com/thelist. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger, man. This is game number 13. We're going to keep on cranking them. Check out that Archipel documentary, The Dreamcast, remembered by 8 game creators. Because it's very, very good. It's Dreamcast specific, but, you know, Rez is tied into that. It's just a good thing. There's also a 20th anniversary Rez video you can check out there. There's still some 20th anniversary Rez merch on, I think I Am 8-Bit. I bought some shirts from there. I got way into Rez when I got into Rez. So, yeah. And I'm still playing Luminous, dude. The unfortunate thing is I don't have PlayStation Plus, so my backup of my Luminous Electronic Symphony save is trapped in Plus, and I didn't want to spend whatever Plus money was just for Jim Ryan to give me that save back. So I reinstalled Luminous on the Vita and started from scratch. But people are still in there playing Luminous, and that one's got the world block experience where everybody plays together to try and chip away at a block. And like the more you play in a day as a collective, the more that block goes away and we all get something special in the end. Kind of like that Peter Molyneux mobile game. But, you know.
Man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Until next week. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Bye.